Tonight, we have one of the first survivor stories from that massive oil well blowout in the Gulf of Mexico. One man's compelling story of how he made it off an oil rig that had become a raging inferno. As BP scrambles to stop oil spewing into Gulf waters, we have been tracking some disturbing questions being raised about the frantic hours right after the explosion. 115 people survived the blast, but 11 others were not so lucky. Just hours after being rescued, some of the survivors say they were coerced by the rig's operator, Transocean, into signing legal waivers, including crew member Chris Choi, who today suffers from flashbacks and nightmares over the ordeal. He joins us tonight along with his attorney, Stephen Gordon. I want to talk about this waiver, Chris, and the lawsuit that you filed against Transocean, BP, and Halliburton in just a moment. But first of all, take us back, if you would, to that night, April 20th. You'd worked a night shift, had trouble getting to sleep. You finally had. It was about 10 o'clock at night. What happened?
When I first woke up, I woke up to an explosion. I didn't know that's what it was. I kind of turned and sat on the edge of my bed, and I sat there and waited to see if there was another sound or what the deal was. And there was a lot bigger explosion after that.
Right. You're on the firefighting team, of course. What you did, because it's your duty, you went out, you grabbed your gear, you went to your firefighting station, and you saw the derrick on fire. How were you struck by that scene?
When I saw the derrick on fire, I knew that there was no way we were putting that fire out. I knew we were more than likely going to abandon the rig. I was still kind of in shock. I just didn't expect to see that.
Did you fear for your life at that point? Absolutely.
That was the main thing going through my head. It just hit me in my stomach. That's all I kept thinking was, there's no way we're getting off here. You know, we're all dead.
And one of the first things that you saw was you saw the crane operator who had been knocked off of his staircase and fallen probably 40, 50 feet to the deck. You and a partner who was on the firefighting team thought about trying to get to him. Why were you unable to get to him?
Well, we dressed out in our fire gear and started over there. He had already tried to drag him by himself, and he couldn't move him on his own, so he came looking for help. We started trying to make our way over there, and there was some more explosions, and that just put flames in between us and him. There was just no way we could get over there to him.
So you had to leave him?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What's that like for a person who is trained in rescue operations to have to leave somebody?
Definitely one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. You know, that it haunts me today, just to thinking about, you know, is there any other way I could have got over there?
And of course, then it was a mad dash to get off the rig. There was the call to the lifeboats. Was there panic in terms of getting on board those lifeboats?
There was, to an extent. Everybody was trying to get on. Some people were staying calm, trying to, you know, keep everybody calm and get on and do what we needed to do to get away. And some people were panicking. Some people were jumping off. Then once we got in, it was a little overcrowded. I guess some people didn't realize, you know, remember which lifeboat they were supposed to go into. And so they started cramming into the one I was in.
So you say that people were jumping off of the rig. How high were they jumping from?
The two decks they were jumping off of are about 30 or 40 feet up.
At any point, did you consider jumping? Because as I understand, Chris, there was problems starting the motor that would lower the lifeboat to the water?
It was the motor in the lifeboat. The life capsule's the motor that drives it. They couldn't start it for a minute. And I decided I didn't want to make it all the way to the life capsule and then burn there. So yeah, I took my seatbelt and stuff back on. I was fixing to start trying to crawl out the door to jump in myself.
Wow. I can't imagine what it would have been like to be in that situation. So you eventually made it in the lifeboat to a supply ship and then back to shore to a hotel, which is where you were asked by Transocean to sign this waiver that I have in my hand here, which says you were asked, I was not a witness to the incident requiring the evacuation and have had no firsthand or personal knowledge regarding the incident. You put your signature to that. You were also asked if you were injured, and you said, I was not injured as a result of the incident or the evacuation. Why did they say to you that they wanted you to sign these?
They told me and my wife were actually about to leave the hotel to come home. They caught me right before I went out of the door. They told me it was just a statement saying that I was off tower, that I wasn't working, and I didn't see what happened leading up to the incident. And you know, me and my wife were just trying to get home to see the rest of our family, and they said just, you know, sign here, initial here, sign this.
All right, well, let's bring in your attorney, Steve Gordon. Steve, what are you contending in your lawsuit regarding this particular waiver?
Good evening, John. Well, regarding the waiver, it just, I understand that they have a right to investigate the claim. However, the way they kept these crew members offshore for over 20 hours is wholly unnecessary. These people give their lives to their job, and some died in this incident.
Right.
And by keeping them offshore, they actually added additional emotional distress. We are maritime lawyers, and people get hurt all the time, and they helicopter them in.
So is your contention that it was premature for anybody to be signing a waiver that says I was not injured? Because I think, as you say in your lawsuit, there are emotional scars that he is suffering, a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, though not fully diagnosed.
Exactly. He did not even have a chance to have his first nightmare. He was up for 60 hours, and they are trying to use this release or waiver, whatever you want to call it, as a defense to him making a claim now.
Right.
And
Now,
it's really irresponsible.
Transocean has answered your claim saying, we were surprised to receive your letter of representation, this is to you, Stephen, in light of the attached statement executed by your client indicating that he did not sustain any injury whatsoever as a result of the April 20th, 2010 accident. They're saying he signed this waiver. How can you make any claim that he's got any health problems?
Well, we think that the court will completely disregard that, but it just shows you that they were irresponsible and that they tried to do this. They didn't want them to get ashore. They could have easily brought them into Port Fourchon and talked to them there with their family members.
Chris,
it was just irresponsible.
Chris, what sort of health effects have you suffered or you believe you've suffered since this incident?
Just mainly it's been a lot. I've had a real hard time going to sleep, nightmares, flashbacks, and I just, you know, I can't help but replay the entire incident in my head all day. I've gotten a lot more jumpy than I've ever been in my life. Just, you know, anytime somebody slams a door or anything like that, you know, I jump, and it just puts me in like a panic mode.
Right. Well, I'm sure that we're going to be hearing more stories like this, too, as time goes by. Chris Choi and Stephen Gordon, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next